So a lot of you have been asking me for more full-length tutorials because you love my teaching style. Thank you. I appreciate it. So today we are going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do the Icelandic Bind Off. First, I'm going to show you how to do it. Then I am going to tell you what I like to use it for. And third, I'm going to show it to you in a finished piece. So we are ready to do our Icelandic Bind Off. Here's the really cool thing. We don't have to knit a stitch first. We can just start doing our bind off. So I'm going to go purlwise through the first stitch, down into the second stitch knitwise, pick up that stitch and knit it. Okay, one stitch bound off. Slip this stitch back to the other needle, come through the front, pick that stitch up knitwise, another stitch bound off. Let's do that again. Move it back to the other needle, in through the front of the second stitch, up and around, bound off. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do this in one motion. So we have moved this back to the right needle. We're going to go in, down into that second stitch, pick it up and knit it. So now watch. Now we're going to go back and down. And then it's all in one motion. Back to the other needle. Oh, we got an extra strand there. Let's kick it off. Back to the other needle, down through, pick it up, and another stitch bound off. One motion, ready, down, pick it up, over, and a stitch bound off. So this can get going really fast because of that one motion, and then you're just done with your bind off. Okay, so this is what it starts to look like. So that's how to do the Icelandic Bind Off. But what do you actually use it for? Okay, so if you're anything like me, I am a tight knitter. So when I first started doing a standard bind off, I really had to work to keep that bind off at a tension that wouldn't tighten everything up at the end. And so I've gotten pretty good at that, but it could always use some extra help, right? So one place that this is really great to use is for a pair of toe-up socks that the Icelandic Bind Off would work really well there. I also really love using it for the tops of cowls. I feel like it gives a really nice edge, but doesn't give too much stretch or flare. And I've also used it on some sweaters. It does a really nice edge at the bottom if it's a top down. So yeah, so those are a few places that I might use it. Really anywhere that I could use a little bit of extra stretch. Now, some of you have told me that your Icelandic Bind Off gets tight. So my answer to that is the standard bind off gets tight too, right? So really work on keeping it loose, not pulling that tension tight while you are going down into the other stitch and grabbing that other one. Just keeping it like a normal tension will help with a lot of that. Okay, so I'm going to show you what an Icelandic Bind Off looks like. So this is the edge of one of my cowls. This is the Adelaide cowl in the Katie Colors colorway. And so if you look closely, it kind of makes little stitches on the top, if you see. There you go. So, it does stretch. Lots of stretch there, but it doesn't really flare very much. So if you kind of look, it kind of even comes in a little bit, but it's not flaring outward very much. You can see that even more on this. This is my Just Keep Swimming cowl in yarn from Ocean Knits. So you can really see those V stitches there. And so the other thing that's cool about this is, so I know a lot of you ask like what bind off and cast-ons match. So that's not always been like at the top of my priority list. But I don't mind the way that Icelandic Bind Off and Cable Cast-On look together. I think that one's a little bit loopy and one's a little bit more like stitches, so I think that that works out really nicely. You can see that here too. They kind of form a stitches and loopy and stitches. I've also heard that German Twisty Cast-On looks a lot like Icelandic Bind Off. I don't do anything with the tail because I choke it to death. So for cast-ons. So, but that's what I've heard from a lot of you, is that that would be a nice one to match too. I also wanted to do a little bit of a comparison here. So this is the Icelandic Bind Off, right? This is a cowl that used the Russian Bind Off for the edge. And so I want to show you the difference. So yes, the purple cowl is a little bit longer, but do you see how the cast-on is more flimsy on the purple cowl? That's a Russian Bind Off, and it has more flare to it, so it's even stretchier than an Icelandic Bind Off. So if the Icelandic Bind Off is too tight for you for some reason, it's not for me, and I'm a super tight knitter, but you could try a Russian Bind Off. The Russian Bind Off, in my opinion, is just too loose. It might work in some scenarios, but it is really loose, and it does have a lot of flare. So if you kind of look at this, it's like not even holding its shape. I wonder, we could even hold it this way. It does flare, whereas if we hold the Icelandic Bind Off up, it doesn't do that. So that is why I really like the Icelandic Bind Off, is because it does give that extra stretch. It looks really pretty, and it doesn't have a lot of flare. So we have stretch and structure, and that is really a big bonus for me. So I think that that is it. Let me know if you have any questions, or give me suggestions on what you think the next tutorial should be, and we will talk soon.